Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Father Eugene Schmitt with St. Joseph's Church. Also joining us is Dan Fritch. Dan is also with St. Joseph's Church, but on a committee that we're going to talk about. That is the renovation of St. Joe's Church, which you have heard about. So I think probably the first thing to get started off with is, Father, really, why the need for renovating St. Joseph's Church?
Sure, that's a great question, Bill. Really, the reasons for renovating the church and restoring and repairing the church on the interior is basically, as far as a spiritual needs standpoint, is we really want to have a space for people to gather, say for funerals. When we have visitation, they can do that in the back. Wedding parties, you know, as they prepare to come down the aisle, and for families who may want to take their child out for whatever reason, to have a gathering space. And so this gathering space will be in the back, and basically there will be glass and wood that matches up perfectly with the rest of the church. And that space will be there, and it'll also keep us from compromising the sacred space, which is the pew area and the sanctuary up where the priest is at. So that is there so that we can maintain that sacred space, which is so important to our parishioners, but yet be more welcoming and open and friendly for our young people, but for all our people. So that is probably one of the bigger items and one of the bigger spiritual needs for why we're doing this project.
How old is the church? It's
150 plus.
150 plus.
More
Okay,
than 150
Yeah,
years
finished.
old.
Okay.
Finished 150.
Finished in probably in 1880, around that time period.
So in 1880, when they built this, there was no internet. There was no cameras in the church. There was not the needs that there is today. And so obviously they didn't plan so much for that. But you have an icon of Joesph, which is St. Joe's Church. Will people see much of a difference?
So really, Bill, on the outside, what we're doing is preserving the church. It's a 150-year-old building. Weather has taken its toll. It was well constructed. The foundation is solid as a rock and is a rock. So we've been very blessed and fortunate that we have a foundation that's solid and we can build on that. Really, a lot of it is just the weather that has taken out some of the mortar joints and the steeple and just around the surrounding area. So we're just really on the outside weatherproofing it again, just really going around and doing some tuck pointing, taking care of the bell tower and the steeple and refurbishing those areas so that we can keep the outside elements from coming in. So that's really our first thing that we need to do.
When was the last time something was done of this scale?
From the outside?
Anywhere?
I don't
at that
think the
church?
outside, there's been a few minor things done, some of the joints, but nothing even close to this scale ever has been done.
So it has to be done. You don't really have a choice. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's the outside. And then the inside. Let's just talk about it, if you would.
So there are a couple of different phases that we've really been working through. If you think about it, it took 14 years to build this beautiful, magnificent structure. We've taken 7 years to figure out how to preserve it. And over those 7 years, what we have found out is the list continued to grow and grow and grow as we crawled around the building and had people, experts come in and give us advice. We educated ourselves and said, hey, this is a big project. So we were able to take care of $1 million of our work was the restructuring or the preservation of the windows, which was done about 2 years ago. That project finished off 2 years ago. We call that phase one. Phase two now is taking that outside and sealing it up so that we have that protective covering around the church again. That's phase two, and we'll be starting that sometime around May timeframe. You'll see scaffolding start going up and people walking and crawling around the building. And then we'll be looking at later in the fall, we'll look at phase three. And phase three is when we turn our attention to the inside of the church. And that's when we'll be looking at adding the gathering space, taking care of HVAC, the pews as we had just mentioned. The ceiling was another area that we had some concern. We started seeing some flaking in our ceiling, and that was one of the things that we took a look at. So we were fortunate that the ceiling is still pretty good, but time has taken its toll. The paint is peeling. There's some portions of the ceiling that we'll have to repair. So those are all the things that we'll be doing inside: lighting, electrical upgrade, plumbing upgrade. But really the first thing was to make sure that we're protecting that outside, getting the moisture away. If people have noticed, we've removed the trees, we've taken care of the downspouts, we've gotten the moisture away from the building. There's tunnels under the building that we needed to take care of moisture issues as well. So we wanted to make sure that we're preserving that foundation for the next 150 years.
It's such a beautiful church. Will there be a whole lot that people will notice different?
Probably the gathering space is probably the biggest thing that you'll notice that'll be different. And like Dan said, the lighting will be a little brighter, warmth, brightness, and then the sound, working to improve the sound system, which it is a challenging building to have good sound for the spoken word. So,
And for those of us with long legs, you're going to stretch out. Because, you know, if in the 1800s, people were shorter, so they didn't need that pew space they need now.
And not as wide. Not as wide. So yes, on the pews, I think it's a really great idea that they have. They're going to take the end caps off the pews, and that beautiful craftsmanship that you can see, that workmanship, that German heritage that we have, and they're going to replace the inside of the pews. We're going to extend the pews by a couple of inches. We're going to give it a little slant on the back. And then we're going to spread the pews out a little bit. So we're going to lose a few seats, but really in the grand scheme of things, I think how we'll improve the sitting in church and how it feels to sit in the pews will be a better experience than what we have today. I think the other thing that is a major piece of this renovation that people don't understand, and that is when our organist plays the organ and uses the foot pedals, the balcony actually moves. And we know that if you've watched some of our videos over the last 25 years, that when we used to videotape off of a tripod, he would hit the foot pedals and our tripod would physically move and the camera would move. So we're looking at redoing that structure where the organ sits, which is a big structure, and really reinforcing that area. While we're doing that, then we'll remove the spiral staircases, which are still in place today, which make it very difficult for anyone to go up to the loft. And we'll replace that with normal stairs that will have landings and then turn and landings. So we'll really, on both sides, have a great entrance to be able to get upstairs for our choir, for those people that want to sit upstairs. It'll be a great experience for them and safe to get there.
And the thing is, this is just so nice for the whole community. While it's great for the parish of St. Joseph's Church, it means a lot, not only to Jasper, but to Du Bois County and the region.
right, yeah. We'll also maybe we'll extend the balcony out just a little bit more and make it a little, there'll be actually, I know we're losing some seats downstairs, but we'll actually gain a few upstairs because we're going to bring it out just a little farther too. So
Now,
You know, Bill, you mentioned that this isn't just St. Joe's Church, and you're right in that fact that this parish, this building, this structure has really become an icon. It's become a cornerstone. As they've mentioned, it's the faithful watchman over Jasper. And when people come into town, it's always, well, that's Jasper with the big church in the middle of the town on the hill. And it's really become a part of our heritage. It's been there for a long time. So it is important to the community, and we're getting tremendous support from not just parishioners, but outside individuals who are wanting to donate and see that this structure is preserved for a long, long time. And we're very excited about the fact that it isn't just this St. Joe's Parish project, it's a community project, and we're really happy with it.
now it's going to take some money to do that,
Sure.
just a little bit. And Dan, that's one of the things you get to take care of as well.
So our goal is to raise $10 million in a short period of time over a couple of months. As we mentioned, phase one is already complete. That was the window structure, and those windows were about $1 million of renovation. The second phase is around $3 million, and that's that outside, preserving that outside tuck pointing and steeple and bell tower that needs some work. Now keep in mind, there's also rafters up there that are split, so there's a lot of work that is going to be done behind the scenes that people won't see that will fortify the structure for the next 150 years. So that's phase two. And then the $6 to $7 million will be the interior, which is all the other work that has to be done with the plastered ceiling, repainting all the things, making sure the mosaics are clean and that they're taken care of and they're preserved. All of our statues, we have some statues that need some repair. And just when you're working with sandstone, this is craftsman type work. This isn't just the normal type of carpentry work that you see. Even the outside work that they're going to do where they'll actually slice off pieces of the stone that has fallen away, they'll level it off and slice it, and they'll adhere a new piece front to it 4 inches thick. This isn't work that the normal person does. So all of this work is very high and some technical work as well. So then we'll redo HVAC, as we said, the lighting and so forth. So all in all, $10 million. The beauty of this project is with the community support, we have 100 volunteers that are out in the street right now over the last 2 weeks that have been picking up the phone and educating people and talking to them about this project. It's not just about the money. This project is about the memories that this community has. You know, when water was splashed on your face when you were baptized, or you may have been married and you walked down that beautiful aisle at St. Joe's Church and you heard that phenomenal music coming over the balcony. All those experiences we draw on that makes this project so amazing for a lot of individuals. And I'm sure most people in the community have been to either a mass or have been to some type of funeral or a wedding and have experienced that beautiful and that wow effect that you get by going into this structure that, you know, our forefathers spent 14 years to build. So we're happy and excited. Our campaign kicked off about 2 weeks ago. We're already on a very short runway of doing a really good job. So we've trained 100 people to go out and talk to people as we are here about the church and what we're doing. It's not just about giving money. It's really about the experiences and the future generations that are going to be around enjoying this structure when we're long gone.
I don't mean to bring this down to money. However, if somebody would like to make a contribution, how can they do that? What do they do?
So there's a lot of ways. Out on the St. Joseph's website, there's a place called Our Time, and that was the name of our capital campaign. It's our time. It's our time to give back to our forefathers, to help this faithful watchman over Jasper to continue in the future. So you can go online. There's a place you can fill out the information. You'll be contacted about your pledge or donation. And the beauty of it is that we can also take that pledge, if you want to give over time, we can extend that over a period of time, which makes it a little bit simpler for some people.
I'm sure, Father, for you and the diocese, it's really important
Yes.
to now move forward with the faith. Not that it hasn't moved forward, but at some point, you know, people get a little stagnant maybe, and this might be one thing that helps to bring them back.
Sure, this is an opportunity maybe for people to come back to the church, to be a part of the campaign, and just to come back and to see what we're doing. And, you know, a lot of times the diocese, this is one of the areas where they really help us and help the parish, because to make sure everything is done right, there's two committees that really kind of help guide the project help Dan in the fundraising portion, and then help in the building portion, and help the architects and to help the construction people. And that is the Diocesan Building Commission, and then the Diocesan Finance Commission. The Finance Commission is made up of people, you know, who give their time, who look over the plan you have to put together. Dan put together a plan of this is how we're going to raise the money, and to also show them that we don't have any other major financial needs now, that they're all in place. So they really make sure you have a plan to carry it out, and they give their time, you know, just like Dan, they volunteer their time to do this great project. And the building committee, they actually go through what the architect, the plans he has put together, and you have to meet with them several times, and they actually look over the plans, and they'll make notes and ask questions when we meet with him. And the architect and the the company in charge of the construction, they have to actually answer questions about, okay, what are you doing here to support this part of the project? How is it going to last, and that sort of thing. So they give all their time and energy at no cost. And I always say, this is my plug for this is our CPC dollars at work, or the annual appeal that we do as a parish, that all the parishes in the diocese do, because we're with the diocese and we have these volunteers who are experts in different areas. They can help guide our project to make sure that it's done right, and they're there to really help the parish to kind of check and make sure, you know, the architects and everyone have everything in place. So they're like another set of eyes to help kind of guide Dan in the campaign portion, and to guide in the architect and the building portion. So we're blessed to have them and the bishop on our side, and the bishops, you know, are supporting us at this, you know, with everything we're doing, and, you know, trying to make sure we get to the certain level we need to with the campaign by a certain time before they allow us to move forward. So anyway, things are going well and progressing well, and you know, we're just trying to match the effort of our forefathers and the work they did to make this happen. And we've got some great people leading us, Dan and Alan, and the architect and the construction company. They're all doing some great work, and it makes my job. I can sleep at night, because I've got some really good people who are leading each portion of the project. So.
Let me ask you one final question on kind of logistics. How will this affect masses? How will this affect the regular running of the church?
That is a great question, and we can have a sense or an idea, but to have a perfect idea of what exactly is going to happen, we're going to have to be guided by the diocese, which the diocese basically follows whatever the state guidelines, the CDC guidelines. So as Dan mentioned, September 1, we will shut down, if we raise the money, we will shut down the church. And the reason we'll shut down the church is because they can work so much faster if we don't continue to have Mass. We can get it done in a year, which it may take much, much longer. Plus, from a legality standpoint, nobody getting hurt because something falls. So the plan is at this point is on September 1, we will stop having Mass at St. Joe, and we basically will have Mass either in the parish center, either in Kundak Hall or in our gym, the activity center. And it'll depend on probably the social distancing requirements. If we don't have to be socially distant apart, we'll probably go with Kundak Hall because we also have the balcony and put a lot of seats. There's a lot of seats up there, and we could be tighter together. And the acoustics is better in Kundak Hall, and it's more like a church feel to it versus the gym. The acoustics aren't as good. But if we have to be socially distant apart as we do now, we may have to go with the gym. As far as funerals, we will do those there as people want. If for some reason, they want to have it in the church, we would then have to talk to the other local pastors. And then as far as weddings, I think most weddings, the brides and their families are choosing, and the groom are choosing to have them elsewhere. We don't really have any booked through this period. So, baptisms we'll probably do here, but and First Communion, we're still working through plans on that at this point. But yeah, that's which of those sites we're not sure, but we will continue to have Mass and have weekday and weekend Mass.
And the best way to stay up to date with all of this is to simply go to Mass at St. Joe's, right? Okay.
That's correct.
That's right.
Bill, just a final thought. When we've looked at this project and I look at this magnificent structure and we look at what it's been to the community, and again, we talk about it, this isn't about just brick and mortar. This is about a piece of our faith. It's about a piece of caring that this community, this structure, it is represented, has cared for this community. And it's about hope. And that hope is for the future. And that hope was given to us by Father Mott and Father Kundak. When he built this, Father Mott built this phenomenal structure over a 14-year period of time. Think about the hope that they had for this community. And it's really our time. It's our time to pay that back. It's our time not only just to pay it back, it's our time to push it and pay it forward. And that's why we call it our time. It really is our time to do this for this community.
And another thing, I just want to thank like I said, Alan and Dan for their time, but also our staff who's put in some amazing amount of time, and also our renovation committee who's been meeting. It got expanded. It was started 6-7 years ago, and then there was a few members added for all their hard work, and Father Andrew, Father O'Merrill for their work, and all the people behind the scenes. Those captains and team members are going out asking for pledges. They're the people, all those who make this happen, and we're grateful for all their hard work and for you for allowing us to come on. So
Thank you very much to you two for coming on the air.
yeah,
Thanks.
We want to thank Dan Fritch with the council, the
Capital
Our
Campaign,
Time
yeah.
Capital Campaign Committee, and also Father Eugene Schmitt with St. Joseph's Church. Thank you for watching 18 WJTS. We are local people watching local people.